Okay, it looks like we're live. Today we're gonna look a little bit at the bond market. It's not looking very good, especially the longer end of the bond market, not just in Japan, but especially in the US, the 30-year, and also in Germany. And we're gonna have Rafi Faber. He's gonna join us in about 10 minutes. I'm early as usual, of course, to just meet and greet everyone. Yeah, Rudy is here, as you can see, fast asleep on the sofa as usually. Let me know if you can hear me and see me well. I'm doing well, Pablo Pina. How are you? Abandoned Building Explorer. Uh, nice to see you here. Enduro Rama says hello, Mario Rudy from Quebec. I've seen Chris Conman is here. Hi, Chris. Schwartzfager 69 from says hello from Arizona. Terrace Thesis says hello. Joe Potter says hello as well. He's got a Rudy face. Dutch Lewis Air says happy Sunday. Maneko 64, Rafi and Rudy. David Jackson greets from Heidelberg, Germany. How much longer does the Fed have before it's abolished? I'm not sure, but I think the Fed is losing a lot of its power. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows? It would be good. It would take an act of Congress, though, to abolish the Federal Reserve Act, of course. Mike 930806. Good evening, Mr. Maneko 64. Thank you. Boca Bradley from Chicago. Attorney Michael Eline. I just put in an option for Samsung ETF just in case. Oh yeah, I've seen this story about this solid state battery. I mean, I spoke about this maybe 3 years ago, or maybe even a little longer. And yes, this solid state battery for EVs is very advanced, and it needs a kilo of silver for each car. And it looks like Samsung is starting to develop it, and they've done a deal with an unnamed American company. I'm not sure if that's what's driving silver in particular. I think it's been priced in, but it just goes to show how much silver people are going to need going forward, especially the industrial aspect of it. I've seen that the Chinese, I think it's could be the Shanghai Gold or the Shanghai Futures Exchange. They've raised margins for silver, so we'll have to see how that impacts silver on the open. As I said, we're going to look at the bonds. I'm going to wait for Rafi to come on, but technically the bond market doesn't look good at all, especially the longer end. And it's interesting that the Fed announced QE, well, reserve management, but they're only going to do it in the short end, in the short end, short dated paper. And I think the reason they're doing that is because they're losing a lot of money on the long dated paper they have already. So they don't want to buy, not even they want to buy long-term treasuries. Paddling Fan One says, good evening, Mario from Indiana. Terrace Thesis says, I don't think the AI bubble will burst next year, but how much would it affect the price of silver? I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, I think the price of silver is being affected more by the fact that people are starting to realize that there's not enough silver. And even if there was a correction in the AI bubble, I'm not sure it would impact silver that much. Nigel Black says hello from Bishop Auckland. And Jerome, did you hear the story of Samsung? Yeah, I did. Well, I saw the headline. I'm not sure. Paying 15 over spot. I haven't really. I saw something to that effect. We need to be careful with a lot of the information we see online. But anyway, I'm not sure if this Samsung thing is really driving things. I think it's priced in already because they've been working on this solid state battery already for years. And I remember making a video about it, I think 2021 or 2022. And I did say that it was going to take about 5 years to develop it, would be 2026 or 2027. So anyway, we got a super chat. Kevin Lowe. Thank you for your super chat. Mario, you are a complete gentleman. There is no one as honorable as you in this space. Thank you for all you do, he says, for ordinary people. Well, I try to help everyone, really. Yeah. And I don't look at people as ordinary. That's the way I see it. And I'm glad I can be of help. Uh, Lisa Newham, hi, Mario. Daughter's trust fund just matured. 500 £500 to 1,448 18-year investment from taxpayer. Buying precious metals with it. Nice. Main event. Very few people are talking about the 10% increase in margin requirements. Yeah, they did increase margins on Comex, and the Chinese are increasing margin as well as of tonight when they open over there. The thing is, that's usually a way for the exchanges to stop. Well, when the market gets volatile, they need more margin. They increase the margin. A lot of times, it's been an instrument to try to manipulate the silver price to bring it down because a lot of the longs they leverage too much, and then the margin is raised, and they have to get out of their well, they panic and they sell. We'll have to see if this strategy is working. I think the silver market is completely different now, and I think the paper market is dying. And what we're going to see is real price discovery, and that's going to be quite amazing to behold, in my opinion. Just app Esquire, good to see at Join the Dots covering your videos on his channel. He also has Dirty Men Safe as an affiliate. I haven't heard of Join the Dots. I'll have a look at it. Salt and vinegar, the bond buyers are the product. Requa, just wait. Ryan Morosi, thank you for your super chat. Can you talk about tokenization of all assets? If more assets are tokenized, does this create the needed liquidity for the bond markets? Thanks. Not really. I wouldn't say so. I think the bond market is in a bear market, and the other thing as well, foreigners are not buying U.S. Treasuries anymore. They're selling it, and yeah, that's gonna and the U.S. Treasury and other European government bond markets, UK government bond markets. No amount of tokenization will help bonds, and yeah, I think the tokenization is a Larry Fink wet dream, so to speak. He wants everyone to give up their property so he can look after them. And what he will use them for is to control the markets, to use your assets as collateral. I would stay away from it. How do you stay away from it? Well, by holding physical assets outside the system, not necessarily just gold and silver, but anything that's not a financial asset. Here in the UK, physical gold and silver are not considered financial assets, so it's outside the system. Ants5595, thank you for your super chat. Assignats are supposedly, yeah, they were backed by church lands. Fiat now is backed by faith and confidence alone, which is disappearing. The same outcome can be expected. Yes, uh, it will. I think faith and confidence is quickly disappearing. And the system is all based on faith and confidence because there's nothing really backing the debt these days or the currency. DB Backen, what do you think about mining nationalization in Mexico and Peru? Well, that's always a risk. Yeah, I think in Mexico, yeah, there are some people who discourage people from investing in companies that have an exposure to Mexico. Um, yeah, I would say diversification in the mining sector is the best way to try to fight that. But it's a double-edged sword. The governments of those countries, they surely they are aware that if they nationalize it as well, they're killing. They could be killing the goose that lays the golden or the silver egg, literally. So yeah, it's a threat, but I think the best way is to diversify, have different companies. What does Monday hold? I don't know. We'll have to see. See what happens. Rafi should be coming on soon. Joshua, uh, top of the hour. I told him. I always come on a little earlier. He might be running a little late, and if he doesn't come, it doesn't matter. I'll be here. YT YTGN. Do you see silver to Hold on, here's Rafi. Do you use silver to accumulate more gold? What is the gold silver ratio you would consider trading to gold? And is it different this time since silver is synthetically suppressed, like post blow off top? Hi, Rafi.
Hi, Mario.
How are you?
I am well. How are
Good.
you?
Oh, I'm well as well. A bit tired. We went to a Christmas party last night, so
Hmm.
a lot of dancing and a little bit of drinking. So
Good.
we had
It's
to,
better than a lot of dancing, a lot of drinking, and a little bit of dancing. So you did
that's
the right
right.
combination there.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. But I'm a bit of a lightweight, so I feel it in terms of the drinking. But someone asked Rafi about silver here. Do you use silver to accumulate more gold? What is the gold silver ratio you would consider trading to gold? My answer to that is no. I try to accumulate both. I try to get rid of fiat. And no, I don't consider trading out of one for the other. There are people who do it. What about you, Rafi?
There is a price where I would do it. I mean, I would start trading silver for gold at around 30 because that's where I got in 2011. So that's just a marker for me. It's nothing, I'm not making any like scientific calculation here, but I would consider getting rid of some of my silver for gold at 30 to 1 and definitely at 15 to 1 or anything below 15 to 1. I would get rid of most of my silver and get gold. Not all of it because I would still want some spending money for emergencies. But if I really had that, if it was really like close to 15 to 1 and I still have, a lot of silver, I would get nervous about holding all of it and I would want to lock some
Sure.
some of it into gold at least.
Yeah, the other thing I would say, if silver, I would get out of some of the silver miners that I have. and with the profits on that, because I think they're going to do really well. I would probably buy some physical gold and physical silver as well. That's what I would do. Rafi, just before Jake Customs Parts, thank you for the super chat. He says some biscuits and treats for Rudy. Yeah, there's Rudy. Thanks. The title of the live stream today, Rafi, is about the bond market because I've noticed like the prices. Usually I look at the yield, but I've noticed the price in the chart. I'm going to bring it up here of the T-bond future, which I used to trade a lot when I was a futures broker. It's really breaking down here. This is the T-bond future going back to 1981.
Oh,
So
that's ZB. Is that the
yeah,
symbol?
ZB.
Right.
So, we had the bull market here. It topped. It's weird because some people say bull markets end in a major spike, and the T-bond future traded up to 200. That was in 2020.
Yeah. I think
And
that
it
that was during the lockdowns, that final
Yeah,
spike.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. And now, since late 2022, early 2023, it's just been consolidating. But now we're getting really close to breaking this little wedge or triangle. And I think it looks really bearish. And the other thing is, let's see, don't know where I put it, but I looked also at the German 30 year, and the German 30-year bond future is making like 12-year lows. So, the Fed announced they're going to do not QE with
Mhm.
T-bills. And I wonder, Rafi, if they're concerned about the longer end of the bond market because they already have a lot of that stuff on their balance sheet and they don't want to make even more losses, so they're just sticking to the short end. What's your view on that?
Yeah, I don't know if they're worried about the Fed making losses. I think the propaganda that they put out in terms of Fed losses is like, doesn't matter if the Fed loses, doesn't affect our ability to conduct monetary policy at all. It's totally irrelevant what the Fed makes or loses. I think they actually believe that. So what I think they're doing is by starting out in T-bills is first of all they're going to satisfy the demand that's needed because the government's issuing so many T-bills, so that's what's available. And also, when you start out a money printing round, you usually start out on the short end, and then as things got worse, you go to the long end. So I don't think they're going to start out, on going it's 0 to 120 in 5 seconds. They're going to start out on the lighter side of money printing, which is this, and then it gets worse, and then they go to longer dated bonds, and then they start just throwing out helicopter money. So the
Yeah.
reason they did it immediately during the COVID, whatever it was, is that the entire planet was in like a frenzy anyway, so they just printed everything at the same time. But this time
Yeah.
they're not going to do that unless there's like a threat of nuclear war, and they want to really scare people that way. I don't know if they're going to pull that card.
Yeah, they certainly seem to be trying to scare people here in the UK about war, that Russia is a threat and that we have to mobilize. And that concerns me because uh, I wouldn't count out some kind of false flag to blame, let's say, the Russians to have a justification to start a war. But that's a different topic. But yeah, this is the German, Rafi, they call it the Euro Buxel. It's a 30-year
Okay.
bond future. Look at that. I mean, this is really coming off here. And it's not just Japan. So, what I think, and I wanted your opinion on it, what I think this is going to do, it could spill over into the corporate bond market. And we know, Rafi, that bonds are such safe assets that pension funds and investment managers, they're forced by regulations to hold a lot of this stuff. And I think very few people look long term at the bond market. They still think we're going to go once the economy slows down, that these yields are going to collapse and bonds are going to go up again. But I think they're going to be wrong. What's your take on it?
In terms of an asset that will pay its yield, bonds are pretty safe because they can always, especially sovereign bonds, they'll always be bailed out by one thing or another. Even if it's Greece, the ECB will bail that out, and maybe investors will take a haircut. But in the end, they're not going to default. Even in a hyperinflationary endgame, they're not going to default. They're just going to pay out the worthless currency. The danger with bonds is not that they default or that they're unsafe in a company. Like if you have a equity in some company, the company could go bankrupt. You lose everything. So that could happen with bonds, especially sovereign bonds. It's not going to happen, but you could end up being paid in worthless currency, which is the ultimate risk, which is not even a risk that's considered by anyone who holds bonds. So, like one of the tricks is to get companies or insurance funds or whatever it is to hold bonds by regulation and say, "Oh, well, we're making you buy our own debt because that's the safest thing, and you want safety because." The boomers that are relying on your bonds for their retirement, they need to be safe, and we need to, well, look out for the World War II generation,
Hmm.
whatever it is, or the baby boomers.
Yeah.
It's all gonna end in worthless currency. If yields go down to 1-2% because the central banks force them there, then fine. The price of the bonds will be high, but the currency of they're denominated in will be worthless.
Yeah, I've got here gold versus the T-bond future, and you can see that it's like so it's already going parabolic. So, and also that's what you were talking about. Yeah, the bond price might go up, but the currency will drop much faster versus gold, and the same thing for the 10-year. I've got a few questions here from Mac191. Thank you for your super chat. How safe would you say is holding PSLV versus physical metal? I'll let you answer that first, Rafi.
It depends what your goal is. If you're trying to accumulate dollars, I guess PSLV is a better vehicle than physical silver. If you're trying to accumulate silver, PSLV is not going to help you. Depends what you want to do. I mean, I own some PSLV, but not because I want to use it in the end game. I own some PSLV because I don't want to hold all of my silver with me. I don't want to hold a lot. I want to hold just enough that I need to get through a year. I don't want to hold any more than that. But so what am I going to do? I mean, I store some of it with Keith Weiner, and to earn some interest on it, and I have some ETFs because I don't want to hold it in any one place. But as far as ETFs go, I would pick PSLV over SLV, but it's not, don't expect to be able to trade your shares of PSLV for physical at any point. That's not going to happen. So just know your goals and your expectations. You might as long as the dollar or the pound or whatever currency is still alive, PSLV can help you accumulate more. But what's the value of that? If you don't spend it, probably not much.
Just wanted to let the viewers know. So we've got a new mug, the Gnome of Zurich, keeper of sound money, and we've got 10% off in the merchandise store until tomorrow, the 15th. So just to let you guys know. And there's other mugs as well, and the Fed mugs with Rudy on it and everything. Uh, Dmitry Shmerkovich, thank you for your super chat. Gentlemen, thank you for your work. What you, what do you think caused market to sell off on Friday? Did it have anything to do with EU pushing to confiscate Russian reserves? Do you mean the stock market? I'm not sure. I think the stock market came off. Wasn't it to do a little with Oracle the last few days, Rafi? And
Yeah, I heard that Oracle spent, what was it, tens of billions of dollars on AI and it's not working out so well.
yeah, yeah,
So they're a big part of the Nasdaq. Could have been that. Once you get to these levels, it's hard to say what's going to cause any specific
yeah,
movement, and it's really not our concern. What's going to happen to gold and silver in the next few days at these levels? Anything could happen because we're in very unsure, unstable territory here. But that being said, I mean, silver is. still cheap on every metric except for the dollar itself. Relative to stocks is cheap, relative to gold is still cheap, relative to bonds is still cheap, except to dollars, which and the dollar, as you know, as you point out all the time, Mario, the dollar keeps changing its unit because there's no defined unit of a dollar or a pound. So
Right.
in that moving unit, it keeps changing. But what
Yeah.
does that mean? Not that much.
So yeah, I saw this today. Apparently, investors are using credit default swaps to protect against AI debt bust, risk of AI debt bust. And you mentioned Oracle. There you go. Oracle's credit default swap has hit highest levels since 2009. So as for gold and silver, on Friday we saw they were doing really well early on, and then they turned around. Silver finished down on the day, but gold was actually up. And I was looking at the charts, Rafi. They actually closed at all-time highs on a weekly closing basis, both gold and silver. So, like you said, you can't like keep looking at gold and silver movements in the short term. You gotta have the long-term view, and I don't think anything has changed. Do you?
We'll see if something has changed in the next 2 weeks. I mean, the last time we've seen these parabolas in 1980, 2011, and now they don't last long. So if this is like 1980 or 2011, then this should spike to somewhere, who knows where, maybe 70, 80, 90, 100. It could, I don't know. I mean, it could go to any of those areas in the next days or weeks, considering how crazy silver's been in the past. But if we're in a different market now, then there shouldn't be a corresponding crash all the way back down to, let's say, 40 or 50. That shouldn't happen. If it does happen, then we've got longer to go. But I don't think it's going to happen this time. I think we will fall to somewhere. I just don't know if we're going to head up to like 70 or 80 and then fall back to 60, or head up to 100, then fall back to 70. It's going to be something. I just don't know where the numbers are.
Yeah, that's right. I agree with you. I still think we've got a few years left in the bull market. But like you said, we'll have to wait and see if we have a big spike. We could see a correction. I think we have to get used to these big moves day to day because some people are talking about $100 silver, 200. You know, you could get days where silver moves 20, $30 in a day eventually, and we gotta start having to get used to it. I remember gold trading at $300, you know, $10 is a big move day to day. Now it moves $10 in a minute. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That
Uh,
was 2000, $300 was around 2002, 2003.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
first time
I
I
just
bought,
graduated high school. I had no idea that gold was even an important thing, you know.
yeah, I think I bought gold the first time it was $321. So,
Mhm.
Uh, Deep Knox, thank you for your super chat. Hi, fellas. Interested if you and those you speak with have voiced concerns about Aboriginal land title claims affecting mines in British Columbia's Golden Triangle. Yeah, someone mentioned that, I think last week. I think a lot of the Canadian mining companies already work with the Aboriginal, you know, the Aboriginal, they call them the First Nations people. But yeah, there's always something coming up. That's the thing with mining companies. It's not like, you know, there are risks like political, geographical, the management. Have you heard anything about this, Rafi?
No, that's not really my wheelhouse, but the
Yeah.
only comment I can really make on that is if there's enough money in it, the Aboriginals will gladly dig it up too. They're just humans like everybody else and they want to make money. So,
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Azarus, thank you for your super chat. If everything collapses, how are you going to spend? How are we going to spend our silver if they change laws and the only way to buy food and water is through their CBDC system? Well, it's called the black market, Azurus. And if everything collapses, I'm not sure they will be able to implement the CBDC. The French tried to, after the assignats collapsed, they tried to implement the mandat territorial, and that didn't even take off. I mean, people, I think you just start dealing with other people that's why, like what Rafi said, you have to have a little bit of, these are Swiss francs, pre-68. You have to have a little bit of silver to negotiate with people. What's your view on that, Rafi?
Yeah, I think we got to get out of the mentality that a reset means everything is reset for us, but their power structure is still intact. No, a reset is a full reset. It means a reset for us and for them, meaning their entire power structure, which is enormously expensive. Right? It takes a lot of money to enforce a bunch of nonsense rules. And you have to threaten to kill a lot of people, and you got to keep order. And in order to keep order, you got to keep people fed. In order to keep people fed, they need to have money that's affordable in the terms of your currency. But if you lose that, then you have no ability to enforce CBDCs. So even if there are CBDCs and there's still an electrical grid to keep them going, to forbid people from using actual money, gold and silver coins, and forcing everything to be denominated in CBDCs that don't work, you're just going to shut the entire market down. No one's going to sell anything. So the black market will be everything. Everything will be legal, but if you want anything, it'll have to be legal, which is the same thing as saying there is no law anymore because nothing could be enforced.
I agree, and I think one good example of that happened relatively recently was the collapse of the Soviet Union. The
Mhm.
Communist Party lost power; they never came back, and I think it could be the same thing. I think a lot of people were just that's why Russians they used to have a lot of dollar bills, $100 bills, more in Russia than anywhere else. So gold and silver will be like the dollar bills when everything implodes. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, instead of calling it the black market, Murray Rothbard, he wasn't against the term black market, but he's like, to think about this correctly, we could just call it the market
The
because
market,
that's
yeah.
the black market is the market because that's where the free market is. The other market is the fake market. And
Yeah,
so the
the
more
official.
powerful the black market is, the less powerful the legal market is. And that's what's going to happen. I mean, you just look at they have these videos on YouTube, and I watch them sometimes just to get myself in a better mood emotionally. Like you can watch a YouTube video of Ceausescu's
Mm.
final speech, right? And just you just watch what happened there. This is the dictator of Romania, and just one day, like people just started booing him in the middle of his speech, and he kept saying, shut up," and then all of the murder that had taken place for decades under him just a day or two after that, it just stopped, and then they got him and they put him on a kangaroo trial and they killed him and then things were a little bit better after that. So, G Goliath is big, but he's very fragile.
Yeah,
He's not as powerful as you think.
I remember this scene really well because it was all over the television. That's when they executed him and his wife. So, in Brazil, I remember they had a black market in the currency as well because if you went to the bank, let's say went to Brazil with $100, if you went to the bank, they'd give you five, Brazilian cruzeiros or whatever it was at the time. But that was stupid. You'd have to go to like a tourist office or something like a travel agent, and they would exchange it for you for eight. That was the real market. So yeah,
Mhm.
anything to do with the government and the banks is the official, and everything else is the real market, like you said. Ryan Morosi, thank you for your super chat. If commodities and central bank gold gets tokenized as derivatives and put on a blockchain, who wins? Look at Genius Act, Clarity Act, and recent CFTC approvals. US coming out with a new type of bond next year using tokens. Well, yeah, that term tokens is bandied around a lot of times. The token is a derivative because it's not the real thing. And yeah, I'm sure the bankers and people like Larry Fink are very keen on tokenizing even the air so that they can make a cut from it. So I'm not too sure. I would not. I think people might hand in their gold if the price goes really high, they'll sell it for the tokens or for the new currency or whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep a hold of my gold and silver as much as possible. And I'm not sure these people have a solution. I mean, this new type of bond, it could be a gold-backed bond, but I've had Judy Shelton on a few times, and it's not really gold-backed because you can only get the gold at maturity. So I'm not too sure all these things are going to work. I don't know what you think, Rafi.
No, I don't think that once the main derivative falls, once the dollar falls, and every all the other derivatives of the dollar fall with it, I don't think it's they can just like snap their fingers and create another derivative system within a few days, weeks, or months, or even years. You just remember how long did it take the dollar to really dominate the other currencies? It took centuries, right? America was born in 1776, and it wasn't until 1946, 1947, after World War II, that the dollar really became the reserve currency. So it took that long. And in that time, America had a relatively honest economy. Not to say that there weren't bouts of inflation and banking crisis. There were, but compared to what we have now, it was like tiny little blips. So it took hundreds of years to build up that trust, and everything that's happening now is on the empty tank and the fumes of that leftover trust. But once that's all gone, you can't just build it back in a year or two. It takes centuries. It takes centuries of trust. And that's not going to happen. Once it's gone, everything starts over. And that's a lot of chaos. But that's just what's going to happen. I can't tell you what's exactly going to happen, but the people that are in power now are not going to be in power afterwards. It's going to be something else.
I agree. I've got a super chat here from Helpless Hawk. Thank you. How would currency devaluation affect the value of stocks and ETF holdings? Well, I guess it depends what kind of assets you're holding. I guess hard assets, they will probably perform better than, let's say, the currency is devalued by 10%. They'll be up 15, 20%. But if you hold bank stocks or bonds, bond ETFs, I don't think they're a good way to protect yourself from devaluation or inflation. Any view on that, Rafi?
Well, I wanted to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I got a question from a friend of mine, a businessman, and I've thought about it before. He asked me he wanted to see me do a video on the question of why can't they pull off a COVID type thing again where they would shut down the economy, print a bunch of money, and if you do both those things at the same time, then the money printing doesn't immediately affect the consumer goods because you shut everything down. So why can't they try that again? Why won't that work? It doesn't have to be a disease but it could be war this time or something that would shut everything down,
Yeah.
so that they could print a bunch of money without an immediate effect.
Well, I think that's what a war economy is. You know, it's a command economy. The problem is once that crisis is over, then you get the inflation or the price rises. That's what happened like after World War One in 1920, there was massive inflation and then there was a depression. It happened also after the Napoleonic Wars. It happened after World War Two. So
But
yeah,
World War II didn't happen as badly.
and if you look at there was inflation in the late 40s, early 50s, and they even had to do yield curve control and
Hmm.
QE at the time to keep yields low. But I think, yeah, it could be any crisis, and that's why it's concerning because the worse things get financially, the more of a reason they have to do some to pull something off like that. I think what we saw in 2020 was it started before. It was a financial crisis with the repo crisis in September 2019, and COVID was just a cover to bail out everything again. Uh, that's the way I see it. Does that answer your question a bit, or?
Well, I'm hoping they're not able to do that this time.
Yeah, me too. Hopefully, people have twigged onto it, but I don't really. There's still a lot of people that aren't awake, which is worrying. But Chris Conman, thank you for your super chat. Do you think precious metals prices will really take off once the Fed goes out further on the yield curve, buying bonds? I think it's going to take off before that. Personally, I think we're on the cusp of a major move higher very soon. That's the way I see it. I think there's still a lot of people who aren't involved in precious metals who are they've been trying to call tops all along, and they've been proven wrong. Rafi, is that how you see it, or you think the Fed needs to do more QE for gold and silver to take off?
I think they are. I mean, look at where we are. We're at 43.50, 43.25, wherever it is, and $62. I mean, if this isn't taking off, then what is? The question is like, do we ever see a plateau again? Like when we took off from 2001 to 2011, and then we stopped for 4 years, and then from 2015 to 2020, and then we stopped for about 2 years. So are we going to stop again? Is there going to be like another island? That's the question. Or are we just keep going to go up and up and up at a faster and faster rate, which is that's what hyperinflation is. Is that where we are now? What do you think? Are we going to stop at some kind of island? Maybe at like even if it's like 8, 9, 10,000? Is there any island of stability you see? I feel like one of those chemists that are putting together those really big atoms and trying to keep find an island of stability where they can create these artificial humongous atoms and find a way that they can keep building is or do they just become too unstable and they just break apart? I don't know.
Well, I think we are in the hyperinflation because if you look at this chart of the Reichsmark, value of one gold mark in paper marks, uh, it looks really similar to this chart. The time frame is shorter, but it's like the same fractal. And now we're taking off, and this is monthly, probably monthly chart.
Mhm.
And if you look at it monthly chart now, you don't even see the corrections that much. You see it here, here. And I think what we're gonna get is just gonna we're gonna get little consolidations for like 2 or 3 months, and then it's just gonna keep going up again. Eventually, I guess it will stop and maybe correct in a bigger fashion. But
Yeah, when we reintroduce the Renton dollar.
the Renton, Renton mark, yeah.
Mhm.
Helpless Hawk, again, thank you. Once the dollar collapses, what happens to our shareholdings? Do companies become worthless in effect? Well, it depends what business the company is in. If it does something productive and has real assets, I guess, and isn't hurt by the collapse of the currency, that company will still be there, like bricks and mortars, or if the company owns farmland. So it all depends on the business. Have you? I think in Germany, a lot of during the hyperinflation, banks, insurance companies, and pension funds they collapsed, of course, but not not industrial companies. They might be in trouble for a while because they won't be able to operate, but eventually they'll come back.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're just talking about capital machines here. So in times of stress, then they get hit. They don't pay out dividends. The stock value goes down in real terms. But then when, let's say, the dollar collapses and the euro collapses, then you still have the capital shells. The bigger question is, to what extent does law and order maintain itself so that these pieces of capital can be maintained and apportioned correctly, or not justly, but equitably or fairly or whatever. If nobody has any record of their stocks of what they actually own, and it's only on some server somewhere, and there's no backup, and everything goes down. Like, who can even prove what they own anymore? Yeah, because nobody can turn on their computer and look at their and look at how many shares they own of whatever company because it's stuck in some data center that isn't working. Like, what
Yeah,
about these issues? You know,
like the
there's no paper anymore.
like the
What are we
Comac
even doing?
like the Comex data center, right?
Yeah.
But that's why a helpless hawk. That's why you need to have some physical gold and silver outside the system because that's the insurance you have. You know, your shareholdings or whatever might be wiped out or lost, but you can come back because you've got something real. And yeah, and most people won't. So you be like a step ahead. Virgin Ray DeVito, thank you for your super chat. No selling until Fed raises rates 3 to 4.5 years from now. No selling precious metals, I guess,
I don't think we have that long.
until they raise.
But yeah, I don't think we have 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
Maybe. I don't think so.
yeah. Jungle Face Jake, thank you for your super chat. Can Trump's economic policy reduce debt to GDP as the US did from 1945 to 1980? Uh,
I
well,
don't think so.
yeah. I mean, I think maybe the debt will be reorganized or it will collapse before that happens. And in 1945, you didn't have all the unfunded liabilities that you have now.
Also,
Yes.
you had the political situation was that America had just conquered the planet, and now they had all these outposts where they could just stick all their debt and get all of the stuff of those countries, and it made America the most phenomenally wealthy society to ever exist in human history. So I think you can't do much after you conquer the whole planet and stick your debt everywhere. So I think that's over. So no, I don't think that Trump can stabilize the debt to GDP ratio, even if I believed in that ratio as an important thing, which I don't.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching a video today about financial history on YouTube, and this guy, it's pretty good. He was talking about how Venice invented the government debt. And he said they they did a pretty good job. It ran for 600 years until Napoleon invaded, and it never really collapsed the government debt there. They call it Mount Vecchio. They call it mountain because the debt kept mounting. But one thing he said that was important for Venice is the rule of law, political stability, and yeah, and property rights. And I think yeah, that's getting tougher and tougher now in this day and age. And like Rafi said, America had two-thirds of all the gold, official gold reserves after World War II. Like it ruled the world. It was wealthy, but now everything's it's gone the other way. America, unfortunately, spent all its yeah, spent all its gold and more and indebted itself, unfortunately. So I think it's going to be hard to do that. I think the best thing, I think what they're going to do, the Trump administration, what they're going to try to start doing is just inflate away the debt. So after World War II, they kind of did inflate away the debt, but it wasn't that bad. Anyway, Richard, to be true, thank you for your super chat. A lot of super chats today. Thank you, everyone.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's nice. If G7 or Israel criminalize black market silver, isn't it best to have a bolt hole with a plant to transfer family and metal? Panama, maybe Panama or Botswana. Do you remember when George Bush, George Bush Jr. said, "We went to a park in Botswana"? But no, I don't know. I mean, um, it's easy to say, "Oh, I'm going to move over to Panama or Botswana or Uruguay," but yeah, I think it's a risk itself. But I don't know, Rafi. I think I'm going to stick to where I am. Because,
Yeah, I'm not moving. I'm very conscious of the dangers here. There's always rumors of war about to break out every day. But or I could move to Australia where they're shooting up Jews now in Hanukkah parties. I mean, there's nowhere for me to go. Things are going to get worse for me, for my people. I hope London will be okay. But I plan on just sticking it out and praying and having a weapon and some money and relying on Israel not to completely lose its mind and only to lose its mind as badly as they did in the 1950s and 60s, but no worse than that, hopefully.
yeah. Oh, someone's asking where's Rafi based at? Golan, isn't it? Rafi,
Yeah, yeah.
Golan Heights.
I'm in the Golan. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I look at my family, like my great granddad left Italy like when he was 20 or something in 1892. Went to Brazil, did quite well, took all the family back to Italy in 1913. And then a year later, the war kicked off and he took everyone back. So you never know. I have friends who say, "Oh, you should leave the UK now." But what
Go
if,
where?
yeah, go where? Or Bahamas? But Bahamas is just a little island, and there's no tax there. But is that what life is all about? Just not paying? Not that I like taxes, but there are ways to survive and thrive even uh, during massive crises. And I know that because I lived in Brazil in the 70s and 80s. I grew up there, and things weren't good, but my family, my dad did well. So
Yeah.
you can do well in any environment. It's just being at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, we've got to stop thinking of stability as the norm. The stability has been an anomaly. The stability since post-World War II until now, which has been relatively stable, especially for the West, that's been the anomaly. Before that, it's just been crisis after crisis after crisis. There hasn't been any stability. People are just like being uprooted all the time and mixing up and matching and trying to figure out how to get through whatever atrocities are happening. So the peace is an anomaly. The natural state of humanity is war. I'm not making a value statement here. I'm not saying it should be. I'm just saying that's what it is, and we're headed back into that. So we should get used to it, and this is what life is going to be. And we'll see if the stackers have enough, if we have enough money, if we can make the rules and we know how to run markets or to keep liberty alive, then maybe we can make the world a better place. But it's going to be rough. There's no escaping it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know. And there's always opportunities. I think it's the Chinese saying, isn't it? Like, or crisis and opportunity are the same kind of phrase. There's some people here saying you should move to Poland or Slovakia or Slovenia.
No.
I'm not too sure the Polish are like Jewish people that much. During World War II, I think 99% of Jews in Poland got, yeah.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't want to go to Poland if I
I'm
were.
not going back there.
Yeah. Uh, PSA, thank you for your super chat. I heard these events are orchestrated by a cabal to divide us. Well, yeah, I think the people in charge, they need an excuse to be in charge of us, so they keep us scared, I think. Uh, but at the same time, yeah, that's the thing. You shouldn't let all this stuff scare you. You should, like Rafi said, you just focus on what you do, look after yourself, your family, friends, and community, and don't let them get you down because that's what they want. They want people scared, so they will go to these leaders and say, "Please do this for me." You know, that's the way I see it. Who the cabal is, I don't know. Probably someone we never heard of. They stay really quietly in the background. Any idea, any view on that, Rafi?
I don't think that it is any specific person. I think it's just a big mess. I mean, the how the devil is depicted in a lot of literature and culture is that he inhabits different people and then has them argue with themselves and with one another. It's not any one person. If there was one villain behind everything, we could just find out who they were and then, get rid of them and then get to the top and then reorganize everything. It's not that easy. It's not that simple. It's a chaotic mess of perverse incentives. Just it's the opposite of the free market. When the free market operates, it's spontaneous order, it's chaotic order. So evil is the opposite. It's chaotic mess because of an incentive to steal. So then everybody steals, including us, because we are part of the inflationary system, whether we want it or not. We're trying to get out of it, but we can't completely escape it. We can only gradually wean ourselves off by stacking gold and silver, but we're still part of it. We still make money, we still make pounds, we still make dollars, we still participate in all the debt that governments are raising and need us to fulfill. You can't not subsidize your government debt while you same time using their currency. That's what you do. So with this sort of perverse incentive economy where everyone is forced to steal from each other, and so are we, so we're part of it, except we're conscious that we don't want to be. It's like the people that the devil inhabits the best are the ones that don't even realize that they're being inhabited. At least we realize it.
Yeah, no, I think it's like a mindset. And yes, there are institutions, academia, like cultural, media, and they are kind of controlled. They all do the same thing, but I don't think there's just one person. There's several people, like you said, I think, and yeah, and people fall for it. Someone's saying here that the Polish did not send the Jews to concentration camps during World War II. I don't know. Do you know the history, Rafi? He's saying I'm ignorant to say that, but from what I've read, it wasn't very good for the Jews in Poland.
No, I mean, if you believe the mainstream numbers that 6 million were murdered, and maybe it was five, maybe it was like four, I don't know, but more than half of them were Polish. The accepted numbers are 3 million out of 6 million were Polish. But whatever the numbers are, most of them were Polish. And even if Poland didn't enjoy being invaded by Germany, they enjoyed having the excuse to get rid of the Jews, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We always think it was German. Most people think it was German Jews that died, but like you said,
No, no,
about
it was
Poland.
Polish.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, someone also mentioned the Golan Heights. I don't want to get like controversial, but they said it's stolen land. What do you have to
Yeah,
say about that?
okay. Fine. So I stole it.
Not you, but it says here Rafi is on stolen land, the Golan Heights, annexed by Israel. Well, I mean, the whole of the United States, I guess you could argue, was stolen.
Everyone's on stolen land.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, anyway. Mario, please answer Jake Customs Parts super chat question. Oh, okay. I think, let's see. I think I did. Let me, can you, Jake, can you put the question up again? You don't have to give me another super chat. Just link my name on it and I'll answer it again. I thought I had answered. So today is it the beginning of Hanukkah, isn't it, Rafi? And it goes to the
Yes.
22nd, right?
Yeah, tonight is the first night of Hanukkah. Yeah.
So it's at sunset and then until the 22nd.
Yeah, yeah. All Jewish holidays start. at night. That's when the day starts at night.
Is that when they celebrating when they rebuilt the second temple, isn't it? Or something.
Not quite. It's a military victory of the Jewish army, the Judean army over the assimilated Greco-Jews. It was a civil war. It was a Jewish civil war, and the traditionalists beat out the assimilationists. That's what happened.
Yeah.
And we kicked them out of the temple and purified it, and that's what we celebrate.
Oh,
So
okay.
if we hadn't won that battle, Christianity wouldn't exist either. So
Yeah.
or the entire West wouldn't exist either because there'd be no Jews. We
Yeah.
wouldn't be.
So PSA, thank you for your super chat. He says, I heard it's Frankists, I guess the cabal, and they infiltrated all religions, Hollywood, etc.
Okay.
I'd never heard of the Frankists, but anyway.
They were like these sexually perverted group of Jews, I think in the 16th, 17th century, if I'm
Okay.
correct. There's always these like weird offshoots, and they have a few maybe a century of power, and then they kind of like get it go into the shadows. And some people think they still exist, some people don't. I've never heard of one or seen one or anything like that.
Uh, Jacob Bryant, Mario, are you Christian? Yes. I mean Catholic, but I don't practice that much. I mean, in Brazil, most people are Catholic. I mean, there are other religions there, but it's mostly Catholic. Rafi, where is your sterling silver menorah? You need one behind you.
Yeah, next time I'll put on the next video I'll put one behind me.
Oh, you have one, do you?
It's at the menorah's at the front because it's got to be in the window so people can see it.
Oh, I see. Why is there no obelisk in every city in the world, including Israel?
What?
An obelisk.
Obelisk? You mean like a big stone ball? What do you
Yeah.
mean?
No, it's like a obelisk. It's
Oh yeah, oh like it's a big like
like a
tower. It's like
Washington
yeah.
monument. Yeah.
Right. I get yeah.
It's some kind of symbolism, I guess. I think they had them in Egypt. I think that there's one in London they brought from Egypt.
I
Uh,
don't know. I mean, that's what men do, and to assert their power, they build phallic devices. We haven't changed. We still do that.
yeah, I guess that is yeah, phallic symbol. Uh, I came here for bond information low. Yeah, well, we did speak about the bond market, so we can wrap up on the bond market. So I think it's going to be really important to keep an eye on the 30-year bond yield. If that keeps creeping up and goes above, I think it's just below 5%. Uh, if it goes above 5%, look out on the T-bond future. It's the March contract you have to look at. If it goes below 110, look out, and it could affect the whole financial system because, yeah, fiat currency is backed by treasury bonds, the fiat dollar. So, Rafi, do you follow bonds a bit?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And what was I going to say? That what we think of the fiat system. It's not really a fiat system. It's a gold and silver system with a whole bunch of debt on top of it. So what happens in the hyperinflation or the hyperdeflation, same thing, is that the debt part of it goes away and you're left with the money part, which is the gold and silver part. It's mostly the gold part. Um, so I had an idea in my head. It'll come back to me in a
Yeah.
second. But
Yeah, so
Mario, yeah.
that's what Rafi was saying. It's ultimately still a gold. Well, there's no silver there, but you can add the silver to. This is John Exter's inverted pyramid.
All right, I remember what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So I'm right now I'm looking at the 10-year minus the 3 month yield spread, the difference between the yields in the 10-year and the 3 month. And it's been steady at about zero point 0.4 or 40 basis points spread for maybe 5, 6 months, something like that. But now it's starting to move higher again. I think on the news of QE restarting. So that means that short-term rates are getting lower and long-term rates are getting higher. And the 2008 Great Financial Crisis was triggered and not necessarily caused by, but concurrent with the spread of those two securities going to about zero point 0.8, meaning 80 basis points. And now we're at about zero point 0.5 now, so we're headed back up. Once you get to about zero point 0.8, zero point 0.9, I think that'll be ripe for the final crunch, where the QE in first gear that we're in now heads to QE in like fifth gear, and then that should be the end.
That's a good point. That's like they call it curve steepening, don't they? And
Yeah.
and I also think we should keep an eye between the 2 year and the 30 year. I think a lot of people do that. And the wider it gets, like Rafi said, it could be signaling some kind of event or crisis.
Yeah, we're very
Yeah,
close.
very close. Uh, Someone's asking here, do you think the yen carry trade unwind will have more severe repercussions for China or the US? I think more the West, really, because the Japanese financial markets, I think, are more closely aligned with the West. It could affect China, but I think China could be a little more immune to the unwinding of the carry trade. But it looks like this Japanese yields rising now it is spilling over into the US, into Germany. It will spill over into the UK, and we could have what we had in 2011, 2012, which was the Southern European sovereign debt crisis. It could become something worldwide. And that would be who could bail out the whole world? No one. And that's why I think we're close to your end game, Rafi.
Yeah, our end game,
Yeah.
everybody's end
Well,
game.
yeah, our end
Yeah.
game, but you were the one who coined the phrase, really.
All right, I'll
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah. Well, you were the original end game investor.
Yeah, it actually turned out pretty good name, you know.
Yeah. Bryce Cooley, I bought $1,400 worth of sterling silverware at an estate sale for only $32. They didn't know what they were doing. But wow, that's pretty
Wait, you
good.
bought how much for $32 an ounce? Did you
Uh,
say?
is it for $32 an ounce, but or you paid $32 for the whole thing? I mean, I'm not sure I would do that. I would feel bad. But if it's $32 an ounce, I guess that's okay if they didn't know silver was at 60 or
Yeah,
50. That's the thing. If you can go to these boot sales or they call it boot sales here in the UK, sometimes you find things like that, a
yeah,
little treasure.
yeah. I mean, I have these two tr little trays on my table right now. I'm looking at them, and they're 925 sterling silver. My guess is maybe like an ounce, ounce and a half per little tray. And I never bought these things. I mean, I think I got them from my previous apartment that I rented that the previous tenant just left there.
Oh, I
And
see.
like
Yeah.
yeah, they like because they're a little piece of silver, like it like maybe it's like a little bit gross, maybe it's like tarnished, it's got dirt and sticky
They
stuff on
don't
it.
know it's silver.
That they're like they just like leave it there like it's gross. They don't want to touch it anymore. I just had
Yeah.
to clean it up, shine it up, buff it, and it's silver. Like, but there's like three I have like three or four pieces like that I got from just moving into apartments when I was poor and I didn't have any money to buy a house, and like it's became part of my silver collection. I even have a kiddish cup, like that, like somebody left there. I
Hmm.
even tried to give it back. They didn't want it.
Well, there you go. Ian Myers, thank you for your super chat. If the West imposes digital ID, how can stackers save and preserve their wealth from government overreach? Well, I guess it's the free market or black market again.
Dirty man safe.
Yeah, and dirty man safe as well. Yeah. Uh, Richard, to be true, guess melt value of 10 Canadian, 1960 half
Hold on.
dollars.
Let me get it. These things.
The half dollars,
Yeah, these. I just shined these up today because I'm putting my menorahs up.
all right.
So I don't know. It's just like a little silver tray with a
Oh,
925 on it. They're not
they,
particularly pretty or anything, but they're
they just
silver.
they just left it there, did they?
Yeah. People
Uh,
just leave it.
I'm gonna get the Canadian question here. I've got the where's the half dollar? 50 cents. Oh yeah. So I've got this page. It's called Silver Age coins, and it's got all the silver coins and how much they're worth, their weight. So I guess 50 cents was 0.38 of an ounce. So the melt value would be, I don't know what the price of silver is in Canadian dollars, $80. So it's about $25, half dollar, I would guess. I don't know if I'm right. Let's see. Yeah. Anyway, Rafi, I guess it's time now for us
Yeah.
to wrap up. Any final words for the viewers?
Um, let's see. Well, we're at 62. I think that the dollar system falls apart somewhere around $300-400. And in order for silver to get where it was in 2011, it'd have to be at around twice where it is now because we're about 60 to 1. Right? I think we're at like 65 to 1 really. So probably around $130 is where we were gold to silver at this time in 2011. So this could be just the start of a parabolic move. It doesn't just because we're over 50 doesn't mean we're anywhere near the end of it.
I agree. I think silver's looking really explosive. And even in 2021, you remember when we had that silver squeeze movement and silver
Hmm.
popped at 30, the gold silver ratio was at 60 at the time. And
Hmm.
now it's at 69. So I think there's a lot of room. And yeah, hold on to your silver for dear life. And unless, of course, you have an emergency. But anyway, thank you everyone for your participation and being here. And Rafi, thank you as well for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome and happy Hanukkah and happy, well, we still got about 10 days till Christmas. So,
Well, Merry Christmas to everyone celebrating.
yeah, Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and take care, everyone. Let me end the stream. All right.
Is Christianity having a comeback in